and welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by First Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website, firstj.com. Taras Chechko is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. The Parliament of the 8th Convocation is already functioning. The new Verkhovna Rada met for the first session. Deputies foreign factions listened to the special address of the President and elected a new speaker by the constitutional majority. The coalition, consisting of 5 parties, is called European Ukraine, and according to the documents, it has 302 votes. On the first day of the newly elected MPs, our correspondent will report.
In the hall, there are President, his predecessors, the cabinet is full, clerics, judges and chiefs of security forces of the country. By a minute of silence, all of them are honoring all dead heroes of 1100 and militants of ATO. For the first time in the history, the members of parliament read the oath in unison. I swear allegiance to Ukraine. I commit all my deeds to protect the sovereignty and independence of Ukraine. Nadia Savchenko, who is under investigation in Russia, also took the oath. I signed a document is showing on the screen. After that, the deputies go for the cards of voting. In the margins, they say about their plans to journalists. I haven't got ready yet the legislations on which I am working. I would like that we will finally adopt a new code of member of parliament. It will change a relationship in general between the Verkhovna Rada and voters. I had a lot of proposals about working in parliament the previous 5 convocations, and I was always remotely engaged only in business. Now I think that the country is in danger, and we have no more time, and it needs the practitioners and those who, by their own hands, will make a business successfully. It is necessary to make very rapid changes, repeat reforms in the country, because unfortunately we are still there fighting against corruption. There is slow judicial reform, some economic aspects, and for these, in fact, the Verkhovna Rada was selected. I just see here strength and talent to make it on patriotic grounds to change the situation. Prior to becoming already known, the first open prosecution is given to oldest deputy and especially to former regional deputy, and now he is a member of opposition party. It is Yukhim Zvegilsky. I declared open the first plenary session of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine of 8th Convocation, elected on October 26 of 2014. The fourth thing which is done, registration and creation of parliamentary factions. The largest consists of 146 deputies of Petro Poroshenko bloc, headed by Yuri Lutsenko. The faction of National Front will be managed by Alexander Turchinov, Samopomich by Oleg Berezyuk, a radical party by Oleg Leshko. But Kivchina is headed by Yulia Tymoshenko. The chairman of the faction of opposition bloc, Yuri Boyko. For new parliamentarians, reports Alexander Turchinov, the 7th Convocation speaker. During 2 years, parliament adopted near 400 laws. This, among others, is legislative package that are required for strengthening the protection against Russian invasion. First of all, Parliament amended the law on state budget for this year and increased security and defense funding. She parliamentary coalition with 5 parties without opposition bloc. The speaker election had 2 candidates of the bloc Poroshenko, Vladimir Groisman and opposition leader Alexander Vilko. Most votes were for Groisman. And here the presidential statement. Responsible Ukrainian people gave the key to Ukrainian state by election pro-European constitutional majority. Ukraine didn't have such chances ever. After his statement, President offers to support Ani Yatsenyuk as Prime Minister of Ukraine. After his statement, President offers to support Ani Yatsenyuk as Prime Minister of Ukraine. Great history is complicated and difficult. We have very heavy burden on our shoulders, burden of historical responsibility to keep our state and reconcile our independence. Opposition did not vote for Yatsenyuk. We did not take part in voting for Parliament Speaker and Prime Minister, as we think that policy of the government is not directed to support and defend people, but for creation the dictatorship that will not end with something good for Ukrainians. But that did not influence the results. Yatsenyuk got 341 deputy votes. Already on Tuesday, the deputies will elect new government. Yana Tanchak, Andriy Mashliakovsky, Dasha Mizintsev, First Ukraine.
8 tons of humanitarian aid was transferred to the war zone by rescuers of Poltava Oblast. Food, warm clothes and hygiene items were collected by Poltava businessmen through the State Service of Emergency that prepared the complete column to the Donbass. The aid is being delivered to emergency service workers, Ukrainian military and local residents. This is the 8th expedition of Poltava emergency servicemen to the east within 4 months. In general, to the conflict zone, they have carried more than 100 tons of humanitarian aid.
People meet us with a great pleasure. The situation is tension, but we go there anywhere, because we have to bring there some goods and food to keep people in strength.
From Anthracite to Kolomyia, the family of Olga Zolotaryova had to move to the Carpathians from Luhansk. The intellectuals with pro-Ukrainian views could not endure the pressure of terrorists. They had to leave all their property. Today, former residents of the Donbass are getting accustomed to the new location and are looking for a job.
Olga Zolotaryova, a native from Russian Yaroslavl. She moved to Donbass with her parents when she was just a preschool child. They lived in Anthracite in Lugansk region. Now the family had to escape from war. People are obliged to leave their workplace and go up hill and down dale in order to be able to live. We arrived, the whole family, children, grandchildren, and even a cat was taken with us. We simply exposed to danger. In Anthracite, we left 2 furnished apartments. Olga said that it was a pity to leave, but they had a fear to stay there. When the strange people arrived in Anthracite, the big Cossackhood of Don, there are people, they think that they are the governors, and the Anthracite isn't a part of Lugansk region, but it is a part of Rostovsk region. A woman remembers, as soon as the idea of moving to another place appeared, they decided to live only in the West Ukraine. Now the family of Mrs. Olga is in Kolomyia. When I came there, I felt that I'm in my community. I met just my soulmates, and I felt as have been lived there all my life. Olga Zolotaryova, a journalist, she is on a pension, but says that she wants to find a job. Her son and her daughter-in-law remain unemployed. 2 grandchildren are studying in the local school. Although the woman left Donbass, say that her hometown remains in her memory forever. Володимир Мельник, Надія Ніплюхіна, Сергій Грицак, First Ukraine.
Imager and chemical analyzer simultaneously. 2 high school students of the Capital Gymnasium figured out how to improve military body armor and military recorder for soldiers. Our correspondent talked to the girls who want to help the Ukrainian military.
The 10th grade student Anastasia showed the scheme of her military registrator. This is a device from 3 components that is primarily based on the action of TV. That fixes a live object and starts the analysis of chemical analyzers. From the chemicals in their air, it is possible to say if the person has a gun. The idea of the student was supported by her teacher. To provide this idea, it is important to keep in touch with leading scientists, and it would be our second path. We will turn to the scientists to hear their comments about this idea. Maybe they will help with its producing, but on the other hand, they could say that it is a wrong path. Anne was working on the question of additional armor for West. Our idea is unique because we use neodynamic and the strongest permanent magnets. This piece from the projectile system grad, when it flies to soldiers through our magnets, it turns a dull surface. That is the greater surface area subject to magnetic, and thus we reduce the breakdown possibility of that projectile. It flies not with front sharp part of hidden and punching armor, but with a blunt one. Both students are studying the small Academy of Sciences of Ukraine. They promise to help their students with their cooperation with scientists. Olena Samsonova, Dasha Mizintsev, Andriy Radchenko, First Ukraine.
New facts of the arrival of new divisions of Russian troops are confirmed, as reported by the National Security and Defense Council. The increase in the number of military equipment and manpower of terrorists towards Donetsk is underway. The NSDC does not exclude the probability of their preparation for the attack on the Donetsk airport. However, the office assures the ATO forces are ready to repel any attack of militants. Also, the latter continue shelling the Donetsk airport and the city. Yesterday, the OSCE representatives got under fire there. About this and other news from the ATO zone in the following story.
Donetsk is again under the fire, as NSDC states. This quarter terrorists want to burn up. It was hit by special bombs. Look at this from the road. This lighter. The brigade of Groisman was blown up by the anti-tank mine. The explosion was such strong that the hood of the car bounced on the tree. Here was nothing to do. We did right here. They mixed out the streets and wanted to ride from here. The Ukrainian forces are still under the constant fire in the Donetsk airport. The water, goods and the gunneries continue to be brought. On this video, the cyborgs are gathering one of the such loads. These are the Russian militants who fired the air fighter. The symbolics of Russian Federation is not be hidden. On the coast here there are strips of Russian army and they have the images of Russian flag on the artillery. At one glove on Ukrainians. The non-fire regime has not been executed by the terrorists. On the video, the positions of Ukrainian soldiers under the fire were the representative of the NSDC, as the Security Council states. According to the official reports of NSDC, after one of the observers got out of the car from the southeast, where the position of the terrorists, there was a shot from a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. The projectile fell 150 meters from the car. For 2 seconds it was here several shots from 23mm anti-aircraft guns. Shells fell in 2-3 meters from the car. There are no wounded.
Постраждалих в результаті цього обстрілу немає.
In a such way looks Popasna Luhansk district. The part of houses from private sector was fired. The fences are broken by shells. Local inhabitants say where have they aimed. Here was a garage, but only pieces left from it. And there is a piece. What are they doing? Also, for the last days, terrorists from artillery and mortars hit near the settlements Avdiivka, Piski, Opet, Nevesela, Krasnohirivka, Taramchuk, and Novomikhailivka. For mortars and small arms, village Nikishino, Orlova, Ivanivka, and Maloorlivka. Under the fire of terrorists were Zolote, Hirske, Tuhizbenka, and Frunze. During the last 24 hours, there were no losses. 5 fighters are wounded. Volodymyr Karaban, Dasha Bizintseva, First Ukraine.
It was the United Country newscast by First Ukraine. You can find more details at our website firstj.com. Taras Chechko was working for you in the studio. We wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.